Trophied up. Yeah. Hey, do yo. Trophied up. Yeah. Hey, do yo. Trophied up. Do your dance when the G's up. G. Spaced out, got me geeked up. 10 toes on the west, can I beat us? You cannot. Shining every time they meet us. Rack 'em up since 96. Yeah. Been number one in LA, something slight, that's the gist.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Talking Galaxy episode 11. And today I will be joined by two co-hosts. First of all, we got Galaxy Runs LA.
What's up? What's up?
What's up, man? And then we got Griffin, finally back.
Hey, guys. How are you?
And if anyone's wondering, I just got back from a nap. So this is how we're rolling for the podcast tonight. The Galaxy came back from a very interesting week, By the way, Grimace Egg, everyone. The Galaxy came back from a very interesting week where we drew 1-1 at the Houston Dynamo. The Galaxy are still without the first win in MLS play, but there were moments of this match where the Galaxy looked better than we've seen them this far this year. So definitely some positives to take. And to go over this, I would also like to introduce to the stage LA Galaxy Memes, aka Griffin again. Hello there, buddy.
Yo.
That doesn't sound like Griffin. So yeah, what was you guys' thoughts on this game? Let's start with you, Galaxy Runs LA.
Yeah, I think it was a good showing, especially because we played with 10 men for 70 minutes of that game. Obviously, the Zonka free kick where he got the red card, it just wasn't ideal for the team. And I think just being able to play with 10 men and still kind of lost that game in the second half, I think it shows the capabilities that this team has. So I'm excited to see what we can take into the next game.
Absolutely. Griffin, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I agree. I think, like, in isolation, a draw with 10 men is always, like, not the worst thing in the world if you get a point. Going into that game, though, if it was, like, another draw at home, I would have been a little frustrated. If you look at just that game, though, in the context of that game, like, it's fine. It's nothing to get excited about, I would say, but it's definitely not the worst result we've had this year. So
yeah,
I guess it's a direction to some extent.
Memes.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on my twin. It definitely wasn't the worst.
I mean, it feels more like a point gained than a point lost, or than 2 points lost with 10 men. Certainly, obviously, we talk about Zonka has the red card. We would also like to introduce something called fan angles of goals. So going forward, we're going to have one person who sends in a clip of the goal featured on the podcast. So going forward, if you're at the home games, make sure you throw in. This is the incredible angle we got of the goal. This time, as you can see here, this guy was right behind goal as Diego Fagundes stood over the free kick and just buries it. Lovely angle, by the way. So I'd just like to shout out. I'll get the name right here, but this was a lovely angle. What do you guys think of this free kick? I actually we'll talk about open training today. I talked to Diego Fagundes a little bit about this free kick, and he said that Declan Rice learned from him, not the opposite. So what do you guys think of this brilliant free kick by Fagundes?
I think it was really nice. I think he is our set piece taker going forward. I know Peck's taken a couple and he's kind of just blasted them over. So I think we can use this a guy, and I mean, this just proves it.
Yeah,
I agree. I didn't have like high expectations for this one. I don't know. I wasn't even really like, I saw the foul and I was like, okay, like we have a free kick. I didn't think it was that threatening of a position. I mean, obviously I was wrong because he went and put it in, but I like kind of was not even watching. Like I was so like annoyed and tuned out at this point. I was like, we're down to 10 men. We're losing at home again. Like it's all over. And then I saw it go in, and I mean, it's a great finish. And I mean, with a guy like Fagundes, though, like his technical ability, I feel like has never been the worry. Like he always, he has stuff like that in his locker. It's just whether he can consistently do it. And fair play to him. I mean, he has gotten a lot of criticism, and he's bounced back the last couple of games. And let's see if he can keep it going. Hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Memes.
Yeah, I also thought, just from how far it was out, I didn't think this was going in. I didn't really have like high hopes. I wasn't even thinking, if it was going to be one of those like type of banger freaks. I thought he was just going to cross it in, but it definitely caught me by surprise. It was a banger though, and definitely a highlight of his Galaxy career, I would feel like.
Yeah. It's also worth noting before we go any further, I think this is a very good transition into this being a very special game for Diego Fagundez, being that this was his 400th regular season appearance and his 150th career goal contribution. That is an elite list of players, by the way. If you look at everyone else surrounding Diego Fagundez on that, it's not bums. So he makes himself a part of the elite group of MLS players. It's kind of weird to see, like you talked about Galaxy runs LA, the Galaxy haven't had a real set piece taker in a little while. Even last year, we weren't a significant threat on set pieces by any means. I feel like you saw, even during this game, Peck just absolutely wasted a corner kick. He just sends it straight into the goal after there was like a minute delay, and then we get back up and just send the free kick, or we send the set piece straight into the goal. And it makes you really wonder why the Galaxy don't maybe practice set pieces a little more, because it looks like they have no chemistry. But Diego Fagundez is like, I'm gonna do this myself. And yeah, great achievement by Diego Fagundez. Thoughts on this, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the start of the season, there was a quote of him saying he wants to be an MLS Cup All-Star, not Cup All-Star, but MLS All-Star. And everyone's kind of thinking, this guy being for real, like he's going to be our backup winger. And I think hopefully this is a start of something where he can kind of step up and kind of take and embrace that Ricky role. And hopefully he continues to get those goal contributions so he can reach that goal of being a MLS All-Star.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
agree. I think that he's not a great winger, and we've seen that. He's not like, I mean, this season he's been, I'd say, a bad winger, but in the past, every time we've seen him central, he's been pretty positive, and I think that's where his game translates a little better. I think it's already a little too late for him to make the All-Star team. He'd have to go on a pretty serious tear for the next, what, 10 or so games, 15 games. But I think he seems like the type of guy that he would put aside individual success with team success, and that's the kind of guys you need right now to pull you out of this rut. Um, so yeah, I would look to him in the next couple games to continue what he's been doing in the last game or two. Um, yeah,
Memes.
Yeah, I also agree. I feel like he does play better in the middle of the field at the 10 position, just because he's a little bit too slow to be a winger. Like our play on the wings is a little bit more fast, with the through balls. Yeah, I also agree it's too late for him to become a MLS All-Star at this point. He's just his early games have just been not that good. He's lacked a little bit, but maybe this is a turning point for him, and he can lead to better things for himself, and the team the next few stretch of games.
Yeah. Look, I mean, we've been rightfully critical of Diego Fagundez throughout the year, and I feel like all those criticisms have been very warranted, even by the fans. Now, I don't condone the social media kind of harassment that they were doing to him. However, I think it's right to be critical of Fagundez, but this is a step in the right direction. Like you said, he wants to be an all-star. Maybe that's not going to happen, but I agree. I also think he's the type of guy that wants team success. He's been in this league for how many years? He won his first MLS Cup last year. Maybe it's time to tamper his own personal expectations a little bit, and maybe, be a little more focused on delivering for the Galaxy as a whole, delivering results for the team. And I definitely see Fagundez being able to do that. We'll go into attendance numbers here. We got the Galaxy. We're third in attendance this match. Was anyone here? I don't think so. I don't think any of you guys are here. Yeah, the atmosphere is pretty good.
I thought Griffin was there.
Yeah, Griffin. You make the flight. We'll have Griffin this summer. The Galaxy were third in attendance this week, which is pretty good. 23.6K. However, these numbers were a bit inflated. I'm more curious to see how it is going to be next home match because of the ring giveaway. But you could feel the atmosphere. I was in Angel City Parkade. It's always a really good time there. Highly recommend to anyone who hasn't been yet. And yeah, I think. Do you think these numbers were a bit inflated by the ring giveaway, or do you expect to see them in a similar range next game?
They're definitely inflated, but I mean, doing these giveaways, that's how you get more fans out. That's how you get these new fans or maybe fans from previous seasons that have watched this team be good. That's how you get them back in their seats. So you have to do these types of giveaways. I know upcoming we got a Cosmo bobblehead or something coming up And we also got Star Wars Night and these events. These are what brings in the people. This is the money grabbers. So that's why they do these type of events, I think. So obviously, I think 23K is probably not going to be our average for the rest of the season, but I think we can see around that, maybe around the 21K, 22K. So definitely, definitely inflated, but I think we can keep around that range.
Hmm.
Yeah, I also think that with MLS attendances in general, you kind of need to take them with a grain of salt because a lot of teams, if not all the teams, report tickets sold as opposed to like tickets scanned at the gate, or not even tickets sold, just tickets distributed. Like at LAFC, 22,000, 1,100. I'm pretty sure that's their max capacity. So that means what they're saying is there wasn't an empty seat in the house, and I'm sure if you look back, there was some, but it's tickets distributed. So 23,685 tickets were distributed for the Galaxy game. There probably weren't that many people there, but like it's the same thing for everyone. So everyone's numbers are a little bit inflated. Like a couple weeks ago, the Revs had probably 4,000 people at their game, and it said like 14 or 15 because you have season ticket members who are counting for every game, but they're not actually going. So, but I mean, from the couch at my house, the game looked pretty good, and it looked like there was one of the better crowds of the year, other than I'd say the home opener. Other than that one, I think it's probably the best card of the year. So
Yeah, memes.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely inflated because of the rings. Everybody just trying to get a hold of them. It's, a special accessory, and also the people trying to sell them online. I thought that they were going for like $160 like 5 minutes after they were given away. So that's just crazy.
Yeah, I think that's also a pretty good segue into the next thing that we're going to go into here. If anyone doesn't have anything else, is the ring. The Galaxy released a statement on the ring giveaway that happened at this match. And the statement here says, "We always aim to distribute giveaways with the fan experience and employee safety in mind. It is never easy, and we haven't found a perfect process. We especially always want to do right by our season ticket members and tried to prioritize their experience by opening the season ticket member gate 15 minutes early and delivering rings to our field side seats. Today, we had to pull rings from 2 gates that we undistributed for the safety of our team members who were shaken by an overwhelming fan response. In the weeks ahead, we'll prioritize season ticket members to do right by those who are disappointed by the match giveaway. We thank our fans and their patience for helping us to make right future giveaways and an enjoyable experience as we continue to refine our distribution process." So if you guys missed it, there was a large issue with the rings. And the Galaxy's issue here was that, well, I actually have firsthand experience here. From the gate that I went in near Legends Plaza, I was in the season ticket member line. I got to the Galaxy Express station around 4:40. First of all, Galaxy Express took 40 minutes to pick us up. And we ended up getting to the stadium by around 5:30. Around 5:30-ish, when they first started distributing these things, the lines were packed. And we expected that. I go through the line, and right as I'm about to get to the front of the line, they tell us that the season ticket member line ran out. They're like, "Okay, sorry, we ran out, but if you guys go to the other lines, all you have to do is merge with the other lines. You'll get a ring." Okay. So I merge into the other line, as everyone in our line did, because we're here for the we're primarily here for the ring, right? Because this team, we're gonna watch the whole game and support, but the ring's the main feature. So we go to the other line. They scan the ticket, and if you don't know, once you scan your ticket, you can't go back. You can't go out of the stadium. There's no readmission. We go through, about 10 of us, they scan the ticket, and then they tell us, as everyone's trying to get the ring, no more rings. They're like, "No more rings in this line." And everyone's like, "Wait, what? You guys said that if we went into this line that we'd have a ring." And they're like, nothing we could do about it, when they had rings in every other line besides the season ticket member one and the one that we went into. I know there was another experience at another gate, but this is my experience at Legends Plaza. And everyone was there for 15 minutes wondering, what's going on? What's going on here? Because we were supposed to get our rings. I don't know if he's in the chat, but Brandon was there. Brandon told me that He got in the line. He was probably 50 people back, but he was in the general line and he got a ring. I did not get a ring. Everyone was waiting for about 20 minutes and the security was really unhelpful. They're really unhelpful. And in fact, they told people, might as well go back to your seats because I promise you're not getting a ring. So incredibly disrespectful. And it got to a point where people were protesting and they're like, dude, that was your own issue. You told us that we'd get a ring if we went in this line and you didn't honor it. We're season ticket members. We're here through the worst of the worst. And they're like, nope, call security. And they called security. And I did not stay for that part. And yeah, as you can see here. So it was a disaster. What was your guys' experiences you heard on this?
From some of the GCs I've been in, it sounds like people from the general mission had a better chance of getting one than the season ticket members. So that's just unfortunate. And I just pulled up eBay right now, looked at the sold listings, and two of them have sold for $100 and $150. There's obviously those scalpers that obviously just went to sell their ring, and they probably earn their money back from the ticket, which is unfortunate because there's these people that want the rings, and they'll like it'll be like memorabilia for them because they were part of this 2024 season, and now they can't have it because these scalpers.
Yeah, Griffin.
I obviously wasn't there, but I heard from Ant, who I think is in the chat, and he had a similar experience as you, Peyton, and it's just like it seemed very unorganized. And like it's one thing if like, yeah, the rings are gonna run out. Like everyone knows that. There's a set amount. Everyone gets there early for a reason. Like if you get there early and you don't get a ring because they sell out, like that's frustrating, but it happens because there's not enough. But the fact that people were there and doing the right thing and told they were going to get rings, and then that combined with just the fact like the team sucks right now and like everyone's has so many reasons to be upset. I remember back in 2014, I guess it would have been 2015 when the 2014 ring giveaway was. I don't remember if it was in 2015 or like a couple years after, but because I was younger. But it was not like it was like this in the sense that there was a lot of people there and there was a set amount of rings, so like you had to get there early. But it was like if you got there early, if you got there when the gates opened and you got in line, like you would get a ring. And that's what I expected this year, where it was like the people who want to get a ring will get a ring because they'll put in the work to get there early and get to the gates and things like that. That might be a little skewed because I was I would have been like 12 in 2014, 13 in 2015, but still, it just seems like it was an absolute mess. And it's the fact that they've done this before. They did it in 2014. They did a 2002 ring giveaway in I don't know, a couple of years ago. And it's the fact they've done stuff like this before and they still couldn't get it. And I think the statement just made things worse. I think it's just, yeah, it's deflecting. And yeah, I think they should have done a better job. And the team sucks right now, so people are going to be mad and they have every right to be mad.
Yeah. Memes.
Yeah, obviously I wasn't there either, but I heard your story, Peyton, and I just think that the whole thing was a mess, from like start to finish. It kind of sucks that not everybody gets to get a ring, But the thing is, like the giveaways that this team does are also like always a mess. There's always some type of like conflict that happens towards the end, or we find out like a day or a couple weeks later. So it's just something that the team needs to learn from. I feel like it's been happening a little bit too often that when the team does a giveaway like this, not essentially like a ring giveaway, but other types of giveaways, there's always like a shortage, or just the whole process of it is like a mess. So I mean, it kind of sucks that they haven't learned from it and like haven't structured it to get it more, I don't know, just more like fair in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I know Ant in the chat was kind of talking about like season ticket members expecting to get a ring. I mean, my issue wasn't with them running out. If every gate would have ran out of rings and there would have been like nothing we could do, like, sorry, it's just how it is. It wouldn't have been an issue, really. It would have just been fair. But it wasn't the expectation. I mean, if you look in the giveaway description of the Galaxy, they said that the first 10,000 in the stadium will have a ring. I was definitely within the first 10,000 in the stadium. And by your own word, you didn't honor that. And like, more than anything for me, the fact that you say that if you go to this line, you'll get a ring. Like, sorry, we ran out this line, but if you go over here, you'll get a ring. You give me the runaround and I still don't get a ring. the issue I had more than anything was the way that they treated their fans, because I felt like the security was just insanely like. I'm not trying to be a Karen, but like the security was ridiculous. Like the security, like the fact that some people think they're bigger than the club is just beyond me. Because you see the guy in the striped shirt here. There was another guy at my gate that I saw open training today. They have like a power. They have a power issue. They have a power issue where they think that they could call security on the fans because everyone's just wondering where the ring that you promised them is, you know, and the way that you deal with your most loyal fans. And there was a guy that was saying that I thought was really true at the gate. He was like, we've been here when the stadium's empty. We've been here when you guys, 2023, 2017, some of these fans have been through the worst. We've been through it. We're season ticket members. Like, we're not just like a casual scalper coming in to resell for $150 on eBay. Like, we're genuine like season ticket members. And you guys are going to treat us like this, not only to not give us it, but like they were opening boxes in front of us of new rings that they could have easily just given the crowd of 10 people at the start that they promised rings and had it been done with. And they refused to. And not only that, but they were really snarky. They had an attitude with everyone. And it really kills some joy that you have for the team when this team already has 0 wins to start with. And yeah, no, it was just a disaster, honestly. I don't know. Have you guys ever had an issue with security or noticed like a security power dynamic? They kind of have like an ego struggle, I guess.
Honestly, like I do, but you want to go first?
No, you go.
Honestly, I do, but it's like when I get into the stadium, like through the parking lines, and they send me to the wrong parking lot. Like sometimes, like I don't know, they just have like a big ego problem and they have an attitude problem. Like, sometimes, there's parking and towards the left and they make you go all the way around like behind Kelsey Dominguez Hills, which obviously takes like forever. But yeah, that's like my only problem with security, to be honest, just at the parking.
Yeah. I had a parking situation as well as for MLS Cup. I was doing the volunteer work, so I was supposed to park in like lot 4 or something. And I go up to lot 4 and they say, oh, you don't have your parking pass, so they can't let you in. So they end up sending me all the way to that dirt patch in the very, very back where I forget which lot it is, but it's in the 10s. That thing is terrible. It's like a 15-minute walk to the stadium, and eventually I got in, but I mean, it's just such a struggle. So it's just the communication from the top down just needs some work, it seems like.
Yeah. Griffin?
Yeah. I think the one thing that I've noticed is like I've gone to college, so I've gone to less games recently, but all the things I've been hearing have been inflated recently. Like I used to be a season ticket member like when I was younger and when I was living closer, and I never had issues like this, and a lot of people didn't have issues like this. Like I didn't hear a lot about these issues, but they're becoming more common like more recently. So I think there's something going on that's making it more prevalent. People are having issues with security guards. People are getting kicked out of games. People are getting, not being able to sit in their seats. There's a lot of things going on that need to be fixed that weren't there before. So it's not like this has always been a problem. It's something that's happening recently.
And you saw last season they had an issue with the security. The supporter sections had an issue with security. There was protest over that. But more so, the thing that was kind of crazy was that this was Galaxy employees treating us like garbage. This wasn't some like security agency like they're talking about in the chat. This isn't some security agency that's brought in, doesn't care about the club, and can just do whatever they want. These are Galaxy employees. I saw this guy today. This isn't a random security guy. I saw this guy today, the guy that I had an issue with, and there's no accountability. This statement feels a bit weak to me because for me, you really have to make it up to your fans. If I am not on this podcast in a couple of weeks with a ring in my finger after we've been robbed of it, I am going to be very upset. You have to make it right with your fans. There has to be a genuine promise to make it right. I don't know how they're going to do it. But they have to make it right with fans. And I feel like they deflected a bit here. I feel like they deflected a bit by calling it an safety of your team members issue on why you pulled rings from gates. It was not. from the gate I was at, I can promise you there was no threat besides themselves. There was no threat besides themselves because they were the ones making it more of an issue than it ever needed to be. Fans weren't threatening them at my gate, and they still pulled them. I don't know why it was such an issue. And it was just really bad. It was a really bad look on the Galaxy's part here. So I did not enjoy watching that. I did not enjoy that at all. Just a terrible experience, honestly. Just probably the worst experience I've ever had at the Galaxy, at a Galaxy game, and that says something because it's been rough these past few years. And yeah. So that being said, it was just terribly managed. But we'll move on to the next thing here, which is I believe we have Maya Yoshida injury news. Would you like to go over this, Galaxy Runs LA?
Yeah, so it was in the press conference from the previous week, and Greg Vanney said that if he's going to be out for a few more weeks, his scan looked a little more serious. So, I mean, we're going to be without him, and obviously, with him being out, Zonka starts and gets a red. So now we're another man down. So I guess we'll talk about this later, but I don't know who's going to fill in the center back role. I'm not sure if Nelson slides into the center back role or we bring in Zavaleta. I know people have their Zavaleta agenda after that preseason game versus NYCFC. So it'll be interesting to see what Vanney does.
Yeah. Griffin?
Yeah, I think this is something that's not surprising. Like a lot of people think back to Yoshida last year and how he didn't miss a single game, or right? He didn't miss a single game, I think. Missed a couple minutes here and there, but basically was healthy the entire year. But that was an outlier. Like this is a 35, 36-year-old defender who has a lot of years in his legs that he's bound to have little injuries like this. And I wouldn't be surprised if things like this keep happening for him and Zonka. They're both old. They're going to get little muscle injuries here and there. The same thing that Marco Reus is going through. We've seen in the past with other old players. You know, Douglas Costa used to get these all the time. So it's not something that's surprising. I think that hamstrings are tough. Anyone who's ever like played and got a hamstring injury or had a teammate get a hamstring injury, it's one of those things that it seems like it's going to be a week or two, and all of a sudden you're out for 6 weeks and you're still feeling it. So I think it's one you have to be careful with. It's a little frustrating the timing wise, considering Zonka's suspended, but I mean, we haven't got a win so far, so why not change things up and give Zavaleta a chance, give Cerrillo a chance in the back four, give Asenge a chance from VCFC, something. So let's see what they do this weekend.
Memes.
Yeah, just because, he's also been a player that hasn't really gone through like rotation a lot this season as well. He's probably been one of the few players that's gotten the most minutes out of the whole team. It was bound to happen. He was bound to get an injury, especially like one of those big muscular injuries. It sucks that he's going to be out a couple more weeks, especially since, Zonka's out for this week, and then obviously he's going to be back and he's still not good. So we're probably going to have to see the nephew play for like a couple games. Honestly, it's probably like our best option. Yeah.
We'll go into a preview here of Galaxy Austin, but I think Yoshida being out for a few weeks, I guess, kind of emphasizes how lucky we got last year for him to play the most minutes of all of Major League Soccer. That's a goalkeeper stat, by the way. That is almost always a goalkeeper that claims the most minutes in Major League Soccer. And the fact that a 37-year-old, he might have been 36 at the time, defender wins that is just ridiculous. And you see here, he's going to be out. The Galaxy missed him. The Galaxy absolutely have missed him in the last two games, the Tigres game and this game here. It's just not the same with Zonka. It's not the same. He gets a red card in that match. He didn't look particularly good anyway at any point for the Galaxy. Zonka's getting up there in conversations with worst Galaxy defender very quickly here. But Yoshida's absolutely been a rock on that back line. You see Fagundes take the armband. That's going to continue as long as he's the starter. But you're right. Hamstring injuries linger. This could be something that lasts a whole season for Maya Yoshida before he's back to full strength. And we would not like to see that. But that's the reality of what Yoshida's facing here. So I think it's okay to keep him out a couple weeks. I saw him at training today. I went to open training. I mean, that's where this video came from. We'll cue the video real quick.
Loud talking Galaxy.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. That is where That's where that came from, was open training. He was not in full practice though. It's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while, and that's okay because it's not okay, but we'll have to figure something out.
I got one more thing on Yoshida. I think that it's not necessarily, yes, Zonka's played really bad and he's had his bad games, don't get me wrong, but for both Zonka and Garces this year, they've both played their best games or their better games this season next to Yoshida. And the partnership of Zonka and Garces that we've seen together hasn't been good. You think about Zonka was good at Portland away. You know, he had an assist. He was pretty good on the ball. And that was next to Yoshida. Garces came off the bench in that one. Garces was good in his, what was the game? The
Minnesota.
Yeah, he was good in Minnesota. He came off the bench for Minnesota, but he was good in one of the CONCACAF Champions League games. I don't remember which one, but it was next to Yoshida.
Tigres, yeah.
Yeah, Tigres. So it seems like Yoshida himself, probably hasn't hit the heights as he did from last year, but the back line as a whole plays better when he's there, as well as Zonka and Garces. So it makes me a little worried because the only time we've seen Zonka play well or not bad has been next to Yoshida. So maybe it's just he's the one who can hold that back line together.
Anyone want to expand on that point?
Yeah, I think just missing Yoshida is going to be tough. Obviously, I think just him as a captain, him that being that vocal presence in the back line, telling people where to be and what to do, it's beneficial for the Galaxy. And not having him there, kind of leading the back line, it's different because obviously you got McCarthy, who's also one of the, I guess, co-captains in a sense. He's out there being vocal. You have Yamane, who barely speaks English, Garces, who barely speaks English, Aude or Nelson. I mean, Nelson speaks English, but Aude, not much. And then you got a new player like Zonka, who's obviously experienced, but he just isn't that same presence as Yoshida has. So it's a big miss, and I expect when he gets back, he'll take that spot right back from Bryce Zonka.
Yeah. Memes?
Yeah, I've also noticed that when Zonka and Garces also play together, I feel like they clash a lot together. I don't know what it is. Maybe just, they're not familiar with each other's play style, but I feel like they do clash together. I feel like their play styles kind of as defenders are, kind of similar so that they don't piggyback off each other like Garces and Yoshida did like a lot last season. We saw that Garces was a lot like a sweeper type of player. He would come out or he would come forward, clear the ball, or he would dribble up, and then Yoshida would stay back. And I feel like Zonka also kind of does the same thing. And Garces also does the same thing, and it leads to like a lot of miscommunication. And like how Tabs also said, Yoshida is a player. I remember like they said last season, like he would speak multiple languages throughout the back line. He would speak Spanish, Japanese, and Italian with Garces when he had Garces in his back line. And now, with Zonka, it's just like a little bit unfamiliar. There's no really a stable person to lead the back line.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I think there's definitely lack of leadership on the back line. You see with the Galaxy, that was kind of my fear if Jalen Neal stayed, is that Jalen Neal and Amir Garces we're going to end up kind of like this back line's looking right now, just without Maya Yoshida's veteran experience not being a factor here. I agree with Ant. I mean, I don't think I saw that point on the watch along, but you're right. Maya Yoshida, like you guys were talking about, paired with anyone. I mean, maybe Maya Yoshida just makes everyone look better, and without him, everyone else looks exposed. But it seems like he has a chemistry. It seems like he could figure out a rhythm with whoever he's paired with. But that hasn't been the case when you've seen Garces and Zonka paired together. I mean, they didn't have the worst of games against the Dynamo, but once again, it was defending at the back post between John Nelson and Zonka that just collapsed for the Galaxy. And there's a lot of pressure on Zonka to start figuring things out, but Maya Yoshida helps out so much when he's able to be paired with someone. It just, pair Zavaleta with Maya Yoshida, and he's going to look like Saliba out here. Sorry, Sean. I know Sean's going crazy at that one. But now it's time to take questions from the chat. It is halfway through the podcast, so make sure if you have any questions to Galaxy Runs LA, Memes, Griffin, or myself, to address them to either one of us or all of us, and we'll answer them. But go ahead, ask questions about anything. Seriously, it could be the last game, it could be our coming match, or giveaway, whatever. Who's Saliba? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Some bum, honestly.
He has to start for the Galaxy right now.
Let's have a
No.
little better.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, just let's see.
It's just the time, Phil. I mean, all these center backs are right-footed players, so I mean, it's obviously tough because maybe the left foot's not their strongest foot. So having one center back to play on the left-handed side, it's obviously tough. So having Yoshida to kind of have that experience to get in those positions where he can possibly use his right foot or like to maneuver around, that's obviously vital because obviously I think all these players are more right-footed, so being on the right side is going to be more beneficial to them. So that's also something to look out for.
Yeah. Are you guys going to the next giveaway? I believe that's a Cosmo bobblehead. Galaxy runs LA.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make it out.
Memes.
When is it?
I think the following week. Not this weekend, but the following weekend.
Probably
Which
not.
game?
I got club.
Portland at home.
Okay. Griffin, will you make the flight?
I won't be there for that one.
Oh, come on, man. For the Cosmo bobblehead, where's your passion at?
Yeah, it's gonna be tempting.
I will be there, but I'm not expecting to get one because I don't know. I get there early, but I'll probably be playing futsal outside of the stadium. Huge shout out, by the way. If you ever are looking to play futsal at Galaxy Park, please hit me up. I usually have a group of a couple people that go. But Cosmo bobbleheads, I think, will be cool. I wanted to see a Joe Tatina bobblehead. I actually talked to Joe today at the Galaxy Open training that we'll go through here later. But Joe Tatina was like, I asked him when the bobblehead's coming. Well, first I asked him when he's getting a statue, and he's like, never. He's like, never happening. And then I asked him about a bobblehead. He's like, nope, I don't think so. Which sucks, man. Galaxy need to get on it.
Hey, I'll be there for Wednesday, May 28th against San Jose at home. Mark your calendar.
I will be slide tackling you. All right, judging by our current form, is it possible that we miss playoffs? Galaxy runs LA. Would you like to start us off here?
I mean, not going into mathematical stuff because we're only 10 games into the season, but if we continue playing like this, our chances get lower and lower. And yeah, I mean, I think obviously we'll get on the right foot and start winning games, but if we continue like this, there's a high possibility that we miss playoffs this year.
Griffin?
Yeah, I think Corner Galaxy last night said 1.8 points per game for the rest of the season is what the Galaxy needs to match like the play-in from last year's total, which is possible, but again, it's the same thing. We just need to start putting a good string of games together. So, yeah, it's going to be tough, but it's not too late. It just really depends on if you have faith in this team or not. And I don't know if I do or not at the moment. I'm kind of stuck in the middle. So.
Yeah. Memes?
Honestly, with the form that the team has shown in the past, no. But since we have more players obviously present now, I'm hopeful that we get to see a more outcome because this is the first time we have Paint Sopek and Sanabria playing all on the same team. So, this is a different team that we've seen before. So hopefully they can turn things around. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Galaxy will end up missing playoffs at this point. I don't have much faith that this team's going to end up coming back and doing anything special. I know you mentioned 1.8 points per game. I don't think this team's capable of doing that. And I think as the season starts to slip away from the team, it's only going to get more and more points per game they're going to need to match. And I don't see it happening. I think there's probably a good chance that we miss the playoffs. Could I see us make a run? Maybe. I mean, it's still very early on in the season, but in terms of playoffs, I don't think we'll be looking at that. Is what, like 47 points last year in the Western Conference to make play-in, and we have 3. Next question we got here is let's see. I think I missed one up here. Are you who's listened to all of the Paintsville EP? Everyone here?
I haven't listened to any of it.
You what?
I haven't listened to a single song. I'm not gonna
Why?
lie.
What's your excuse?
I don't know. I just haven't gotten around to it.
This guy, bro.
I'm a busy guy.
Okay, sure, man. Never too busy for Jessup Paintsill EP, by the way. I had a good conversation about him and his freaky manager today.
Who he
I was
doesn't
talking,
know exists.
I was talking to Jessup Paintsill, and he's talking about the EP. You know, really good work. I like the EP a lot, but he also, by the way, JP Music on Instagram, he thought I was JP Music. So anyone who thinks that's the actual Jessup Paintsill, I'm sorry to get your hopes up, but that might as well be me. So
I'll listen to tomorrow. I have a long car ride. I'll listen to it tomorrow in the car, and I'll report back next week.
And then let's see. Final question
See
for
a
you.
question right here. When does Joshua Scott Wallace make his debut?
Wallace.
So that was when
He has
I
to play with
think you reported
VCSC,
this,
right?
Buzz.
Who's
Yeah,
that?
I heard he failed his medical. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I think you know more about it, Peyton.
So I actually have a scoop here for all of you guys. This is breaking news straight from the Talking Galaxy studios here, is that Joshua Scott Wallace has failed his medical. The scoliosis is real bad. So he is not going to see the pitch for the Galaxy. This is a very bright talent from Sunderland, and he's not going to see the field. Yeah.
Jody.
Yeah, Jody, aka Jody. So Joshua Scott Wallace will not be coming. Let's see. And
I got one. There's one more question. Let me find it.
And no one goes to Angel games. Okay, you don't need to put that in the chat.
Huh? Oh, what hair products do you use, Griffin? Asked by Ant.
Is that for me or you?
For you.
Which one of us?
I'm not Griffin.
I don't use any hair products. I use shampoo and conditioner.
Oh
I don't
wow,
know.
what a guy!
He
All
uses
right.
2-in-1.
We'll do one last question here. Do you guys think Ricky Puig will actually help this team when he comes back, or do you think it's already over? Galaxy runs LA.
I think it depends on when he comes back. Obviously, Vanny's kind of hinted more towards the later part of August or something. So if he comes back that late, we only have a month and a half left of season. So if we're already too far in the trenches, there's no chance. But we'll have to see how the rest of the season goes. And if we're close, I think we definitely get in with the help of Ricky.
Griffin?
I think it's gonna be way too late. I think it's by September or whatever we're gonna be. The season's gonna be over, and he's gonna be back by September, but it's an ACL. It's gonna take him, still a couple games to get back in the swing of things. He's gonna play probably 4 or 5 games off the bench. But yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, memes.
Yeah, I also think it's going to be way too late at that point. His influence is huge on the team. Like it's really big, but we're probably going to go like on a 2-game, 3-game win streak. But at that point, we're already going to be out of playoff competition. Maybe I don't know, it's too hard to tell. But if it comes to that, then yeah, we'll be out of playoff competition by the time he's here.
That Ricky Puig goal on decision day in a 4-1 loss to Minnesota in a meaningless game is going to hit like crack. It's going to be too late. It's going to be too late for the Galaxy for Ricky Puig to come back. September looks like the general timeline on that. Is it possible that we end up as Wooden Spoon? I don't think so. I'll be very
SBC
surprised.
still exists.
I think Sporting Kansas.
Yeah. I think Montreal. I think they'll hold it. That team's terrible. And yeah, so I think it's too little too late by the time Ricky comes back. I don't think the Galaxy will have anything to play for. As we are going into the next topic here, before we transition into a preview of Galaxy Austin, just want to quickly touch on a few things here. One is that MLS is close to taking a shift towards an international calendar shift. I don't know if you guys have paid too much attention to this, but the Galaxy, or not the Galaxy, the entirety of Major League Soccer is on the verge of switching to a fall to spring calendar, which would align themselves with the European leagues. This past, I I know they had a meeting recently and this passed through that, which means that now it is going to the phase where they have to run it by all the major shareholders in MLS, all the people who own the teams, and talk to them about it and see what they think, make potential adjustments, and get a general plan on how this would work. From the proposed timeline I've seen from this, it looks like they will take a break somewhere in like the trenches of winter, so we don't have to play like Kansas City at negative degrees while it's snowing. So
no Minnesota games.
Yeah, no Minnesota games. So it looks like there will still be a break at a point. I think it's from December to February or December through January. So very similar to the MLS offseason. The only difference is season ends in May. Season ends in May, and you get to finally avoid the trenches of Houston at 105 degrees. I know everyone loves those games. Houston away, Dallas away. Take your pick. You avoid that. I don't know. I'm okay. I'm okay with this because you also align yourself with the European transfer window. The only thing that sucks in my eyes is I like summer footy. Summer footy. So what are you guys' thoughts on this?
I see two big problems with this. Obviously, you said they're going to take that break, but it's not just December and January where weather's going to be cold up north. So I think that's going to be a problem. And then another big problem is all these contracts have been kind of set up to end in the summer for MLS teams when the season's over and they look on to move on from players. So they're going to have to change all these contracts or do something. I'm not sure what the solution to that is, but all these contracts are going to have a new structure to them because I know what's called. So, for example, Sanabria, his contract runs until 2029, I believe. And that's pretty far away. So there's players that have long contracts and those contracts have to be like renegotiated or something. They're going to have to find a solution for that.
Yeah. Griffin?
Yeah, I have a couple worries with it. The contracts thing is one of them. I live in the Midwest and it gets cold, and I went to the Fire's home opener, which was in end of February, early March, and it was cold, and the Fire struggles to bring in fans when it's cold. And I know that yes, they're taking a break for the winter, but they'll still be playing in December and regular season games in December as opposed to an MLS Cup game in December. Like a game every week or every team playing in December it's going to be tough for some of those fan bases to bring in fans. And even coming back in February, March, I mean, it's April 15th now. And I think 2 weeks ago we had snow here. So like, it's still cold. It's not just cold in January, February. But there's a lot of appeals to, aligning with the European calendar. I think you get a lot better players in that way. It legitimizes the league a little bit. So I kind of see it going either way. There's pros and cons of both of it. I do think the summer part is a big aspect, though, especially because that's when MLS isn't competing with a lot of other soccer, other than international tournaments every other year. And that's the soccer that's on. That's the highest quality of soccer that's on over the summer. And especially in the U.S. too, there's not a lot of sports going on over the summer. Basketball wraps up in June. Football's not back yet. It's kind of just baseball and soccer. So I think that's something that they strive with, and it would be sad to see that go. But so I could see it going either way, and I think there's so many pros and cons. And if I was with one of these teams, I have no idea which way I would vote. So
yeah, memes.
Yeah, hot take. I actually really like the schedule as it is. Just because I'm so used to it, I feel like it's just too complicated to switch at this point already. I kind of like having the whole idea of having MLS like summer. I just like going to the games, and I feel like it drives out more crowds. In summer, you kids are usually out of school, so you get a little bit higher attendance. I feel like at sometimes, and it's just a great environment as well. I feel like the schedule as it is, it's pretty good. I like how it ends in December. Around Christmas time, I feel like the whole vibe of it is just really good. And, maybe that might not be like a legit reason for it to like stay or anything. But I mean, I like it how it is right now.
Yeah. I'm open to it, but I also agree with you where maybe there's not the dire need for a change right now. I think the calendar they have now, as it is very fun. I know someone mentioned, is this going to eliminate playoffs? No. You might run into an issue though with NFL, NBA, even MLB at the end of the year of competing with all these leagues, NHL. MLS is going to have a very hard time competing with these leagues in attendance. You see it now. I mean, you got the Dodgers running, you got the Kings playoffs, you got the Lakers playoffs, you got teams approaching the playoffs. People are not as inclined to go to games. People are not as inclined to pick a Galaxy regular season game when you have 0 wins over like a Lakers playoff game or a Dodgers game. It's just not going to happen. So I think it's going to be interesting, but I'm open to it just by the case that I think aligning ourselves with the European window is going to be a good thing. You see a lot of times in the winter when our main transfer window is open that teams are very reluctant in Europe to let go of players. You have a very hard time getting players that you might want otherwise. They'll be like, nah, wait until the summer, but you need them for the start of the year. That was the thing with the Galaxy when they're looking at U22s. I heard we wanted the U22 striker, and the team really wanted to retain him until the end of the window, until the summer, and we didn't end up getting him. And it's just one of those things where maybe that helps the case of transfers. But it'd be really interesting, like Galaxy runs LA, to see. MLS is a single entity league, so maybe they're able to work contracts and just make minor adjustments to it. But I also wonder how it's going to work with the end of the season, like the end of the 2026 season, how it's going to translate into are you going to take a 6-month break? Like, or even longer? Like, I don't really understand how that's going to work. And also, we'll have to see when Leagues Cup is played in this calendar. This is just MLS play. It showed. It has no indication of where Leagues Cup is going to be played. I know nobody really likes Leagues Cup, but it's a thing that's got to fit into the calendar somehow. So I think it should be interesting to see how this develops. Not too worried about it though. Last thing we have here before our preview is open training. Everyone's favorite player, Riqui Puig, was at open training today. He made a surprise appearance. If you not see the videos on Galaxy Runs LA's Instagram here, shameless plug. This is my photo. Riqui showed up. Nobody really expected him to show up. I was at open training. All the players were coming through. It was super relaxed vibes. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed it more than ever. I think this is the first time I got every single player. Every player, because usually there's 1 or 2 that's on international duty that they'll usually schedule this over, or is just injured and doesn't show up, like a long-term injury, like Riqui Puig, who usually wouldn't show up. Riqui Puig did not have to be here. He did not have to be here. Let's be very clear. He could be somewhere taking a nap in his $1 million mansion in Los Angeles. He does not have to be here, and he still showed up. He loves the club. He loves the fans. We love him, and he went through. He took his time, made sure everyone got his signature, made all the fans happy. I saw him talking to the little kid next to me. He's super, like, Riqui was super good with the fans. He's always been. And Yoshida was also here, training off to the side. What do you guys think of Riqui Puig? I know some people talked about this potentially being a sign that he'll come back earlier. But what do you take anything from this, or is it just Riqui making an appearance? Because personally, that's just how I see it.
It's just Riqui being Riqui. I think him being there obviously gives some people some hope that he's gonna come back sooner. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's just him trying to bring positive vibes back to this team. We saw him there at the game this weekend, or the previous weekend. I think he's just there to, I guess, get the hopes back up, because I mean we're kind of down in the dumps right now. Win this in MLS, him being there definitely brings the vibes up. Seeing your MVP from the previous season designated player number 10, obviously you're gonna be like, oh, okay, he's here, then I should show up. And hopefully him being at these events also brings up the crowd, and they don't have to do these giveaways, kind of like the ring giveaway. But yeah, I don't think he's coming back any sooner than what's scheduled.
Yeah, Griffin.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just Riqui being Riqui. You know, he loves the fans. He loves photos being taken of him. He obviously loves the club. I think he plays up to that. He likes having that role. You see, he's in the hoodie. He's always wearing Galaxy stuff. He's always posting about the club. You can tell there's a love there. But then I also think that I think when the Galaxy loses, he hurts, and he sees that he can play a role in that locker room even if he's not playing. You know, him just being around could give the guys the boost they need. Um, and I think, I mean, contrary to what they said a couple years ago that he's bored in LA, I think he loves it here. And I think that, you know, I know we were talking about this in our group chat earlier today about whether or not Ricky will become like an MLS lifer guy or not. Which is it's a conversation for another time because that can go on forever. But
Yeah.
he truly does love LA, and I think that he loves being back. He loves these fans. I don't think it has anything to do with him being back sooner than anticipated, though. I think ACLs are super serious injuries, especially for a guy like him, where his game relies so much on, you know, explosiveness and technical ability and quick movements. I don't think they're going to rush him back, especially if it looks like we're not going to be competing for much this year. We'll see when he gets back, but I think they're going to be pretty cautious with him. But super good to see him back. I like seeing him back over the weekend. I don't know how long he's staying, but I hope he's staying for a while.
Yeah. Memes.
Yeah, I agree with all of you. It's just Ricky being Ricky. He's just there to show some positive vibes to the team, show some. Hopefully, he can get some, confidence into them, and he's showing some light to the fans. At such a dark time in this club, as we're on a big losing streak or 3 points only. So he's just there to, just support and just show everybody that it's going to be okay. I don't think he's going to come back any sooner though. Just let it, just let it heal. Just let it take its time. It's an ACL. You don't really want to rush those type of things because if you just rush it, then it's going to just be worse and worse.
Yeah, no, I agree. We got a question here from Ant. Do you guys think Ricky will change his play style after he comes back? Galaxy runs LA.
So at my time at the college level, I've had two teammates tear their ACLs. One got significantly slower, and one kind of kept his speed and his agility. And I think hopefully this is a case of he keeps all his agility and his speed. Obviously, it'll probably decrease a little bit, but hopefully he comes back stronger than what he was, and he can continue at the level that he was playing at. I think that obviously this is also at a collegiate level, not professional level, where you have coaches and professional doctors that can help you in your recovery process. But I think there's no reason for Ricky to not change his play style. I think he's got the people around him in the sport to hopefully come back even stronger and possibly be even better.
Yeah. Griffin?
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of guys do have to change their play style. I think I've had teammates who are kind of like explosive wingers who have transitioned into being like more hold-up strikers, things like that. I think if you see a change from Ricky, the only thing you're really going to see is he's not going to be able to, be playing the 10 and check deep to all the way back to the center backs to receive the ball and then go on these long runs. I think it's going to be more a traditional 10 where he sits in that pocket, he gets the ball and he play makes from there, and then he makes the occasional run to the box. I think the way you see Ricky right now, he kind of covers every blade of grass, maybe not defensively, but going forward, he drops back to get the ball. He's spraying the ball left, right, and center. Next thing you know, he's there checking in to get the ball again. I think if you see a change, it's just going to be him maybe just sticking to that position a little more, being a little less fluid. But I hope there's no change. And I think if anyone has the capability to not be phased by an ACL injury like this, it's him. So we'll see.
Names?
Yeah, God forbid there's any change of how he plays, just because he's just a really unique player and he brings out the best out of, literally everybody when he's on the field, and he's one of a kind. So it'd be really heartbreaking to, see him change his play style just because of his ACL injury. But, unfortunately it can go either way. That's just soccer at the end of the day. You see, with multiple players that some players do have to change their play style to a slower, more like stable type of player instead of just roaming around freely because of their ACL. But, hopefully Ricky can just come back as his old self because he's truly one of a kind. And yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Ricky changes his play style whatsoever. I think he comes back. Now, will he hit the ground running? If you expect Ricky Puig to come back game one and be this guy who's going to save the Galaxy immediately, it's not going to happen, in my opinion. As good as he is and as much of a game changer as he is, he's not going to come off flying. He's going to be having to relearn the game in a lot of ways, and I think it's important that the Galaxy don't rush him back, especially if the season is going where it is right now. I don't think he changes his play style. He's Ricky Puig. He's going to want to be that guy. He's going to want to receive the ball. He's going to want to, play make. He's going to want to drop deep. Will his speed be affected? Maybe it's not in his control and he's just naturally a bit slower player. Maybe he's a bit more hesitant, but I don't see it happening, honestly. It could go either way, but if I had to make a call one way or another, I don't think Ricky's gonna change his play style whatsoever because of this ACL tear. However, this does play into the conversation Griffin and I had about him becoming potentially an MLS lifer. Riqui Puig is a guy who's 25 years old. He's going to be turning 26 by the time he comes back. You're going to probably need a full year to recover, a full year to prove that you're back, that you're that guy, that you're the same player that you were. It's like trying to sell a car that's been in a car wreck. It's not going to be easy, and it's going to lose his value abroad. Does this affect his value? Absolutely will, regardless. Regardless if it's now, he comes back and he plays good or not, you're still going to have the ACL tear on your injury history, and it's going to be something that clubs look at and they're a bit scared of. Ricky could potentially become an MLS lifer, but once again, we'll save that question probably for like a live podcast where we could just like a live watch along, or we could just kind of go into anything there. But we'll move on here. It was nice to see Ricky. I got some good interactions with people like Edwin Cerrillo and Tucker Lepley, and John McCarthy, of course. My really tall friend was there, and John McCarthy was like, you're effing massive. Like, you guys are effing massive. So that was good. We had some good interactions with the players. Love how friendly it was. It was super laid back. It was just the perfect environment for Ricky to come back. And I don't think Ricky was there the first open training, which is, I just wanted to say, hold that, Sean. As we transition here into LA Galaxy versus Austin FC here. The Galaxy, match day 9 at Q2 Stadium, will play at 10:45 a.m. In Austin, Texas. It's one of those AM games. I don't think I've ever seen the Galaxy win an AM game, if I'm being completely honest, but it is what it is. The Galaxy will travel on the road. They'll probably travel Friday. This match will be the first one of MLS match day 9. As you see this graphic here by Galaxy News 101 himself. What are you guys expecting out of this match without going into score predictions here? What are you guys expecting?
Obviously, Austin just got battered 5-1 on the road, so they're going to be looking to have that come back and kind of prove to the fans that they are better than a 5-1 defeat. So obviously they got that kind of chip on their shoulder, but we also have a chip on our shoulder having no wins on the season. So it's going to be a factor in who's more motivated. Obviously, both teams are going to have to deal with the heat and the game being super early. I remember last season, there's a same circumstance, I'm pretty sure. And it looked like we weren't up for that game. So hopefully that changes this year.
Yeah, Griffin, do you think anything's going to change?
I think the results don't change. I think it's a draw, probably. I think the only thing that changes is we're due for a crazy game. Like, all of our games this year have been relatively straightforward. Like, nothing too crazy, no comebacks, no nothing like that. I think we're due for a crazy game. And I think back to that Austin away game a couple years ago, when it got delayed 3 hours and it ended 3-3, and that game was ridiculous. I think we're in for something like that. I don't think we win it. I hope we win it, obviously, but I think it will be a step forward in the right direction because we'll have a pretty close to our full strength 11. But again, with that back line, who knows? We could be shipping a lot of goals. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a crazy game, though.
Memes?
Yeah, I also think it's going to be a crazy game. You know, it's going to be against Austin, so it should be fun. Probably going to play against, what is his name, Biro?
Oh, yeah, Biro.
Yeah. So luckily Ricky's not playing, but there definitely is going to be some retaliation, I feel like, against him.
Surreal.
Yeah, surreal. But yeah, I'm hoping we do get a good result out of this game. We're due for a win. Do I think we're gonna get a win? Probably not, but it would be nice to get a big win.
Yeah. We will have a live watch along at this game. It'll probably start at 10:40 if I had to guess.
You gotta set your alarm for that one, Peyton.
Yeah, okay. That's gonna be a struggle, man. I'll be there though. Galaxy, Talking Galaxy live watch along for this one. Make sure if you haven't to like and subscribe to the podcast while you're here. We appreciate having all of you. But lineup wise, I'd expect John McCarthy gets the nod and goal. I think John Nelson at left back, Vanny showed a lot of confidence in Nelson. I think Zavaleta gets the start. I think Zavaleta gets the start alongside Amiro Garces, kind of what the Galaxy are forced into right now. Miki Amane, right back, Edwin Cerrillo, Lucas Sanabria, and Diego Fagundes in the midfield. Christian Ramirez, Joseph Paintsil, and Gabriel Peck at the front three. Do you guys disagree with anything in that lineup?
I do. I think so. In previous seasons, Greg Vanney has put Nelson at the center back. So I think Nelson slides in center back and we put out at left back. So that could be a hot take in a sense, but I think Vanney showed confidence in Nelson, and I think Nelson has the capabilities to play the left center back role. Obviously, they have players like the Zavaleta, but we've seen Vanney do this in a different situation, but kind of same circumstance where we were missing Jovic last season. He didn't play the next man up in Barry, and he had more confidence in Paintsil moving inside. So we'll have to see what happens.
I agree.
I think that that could be an option. I do think that it will end up being Zavaleta, like you said, Peyton. I think another option that's possible, though, is seeing Cerrillo drop to center back like we saw over the weekend. We'll have to see if that's something Vanny will actually go with from the start, or if that was just like in the moment, didn't want to burn a sub, might as well just move Cerrillo back. And I think he was actually pretty solid there. I think he didn't look bad. You could see Cerrillo drop back there and, see Parente get the start in the midfield. I do think it'll be interesting if Zavaleta starts, who gets the armband. We've seen Zavaleta wear it in preseason. We've seen Fagundes wearing it recently. We've seen McCarthy wear it a couple of times. So I think Fagundes is higher than McCarthy in the pecking order because we saw him wear it over the weekend. But I don't think we've seen Zavaleta and Fagundes on the field at the same time without Yoshida there. So I think Zavaleta could get the armband, and that would make a lot of people mad on social media, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Memes.
Yeah, I'm going to see Zavaleta starting just this one, just because he has the most experience in the back line. He's been here for quite a while, so I feel like he has Vanny's trust for this game. Other than that, I feel like the lineup just stays the same. I feel like the only questions really are the back line, and then maybe the midfield as well. Maybe we'll see Parente start again, just because Sanabria was back in the lineup just as soon as he was available from injury. So maybe we'll see him, start this one, and Sanabria will come back in the second half.
I would not be surprised to see Edwin Cerrillo slot in at center back. In fact, if I was Greg Vanney, that's what I would do. And once again, obviously not a professional soccer coach, but what this really reminds me of is when the Galaxy played LAFC last year. Around this time, is around this exact time, and we had a center back issue because Maya Yoshida was our only available center back for this game. Everyone else had injuries or suspension. Zavaleta had a concussion, so maybe that changes things. He went with Cerrillo. At center back, which surprised a lot of people against LAFC, and he held his own, in my opinion. So I thought he was fine last game too. Could Edwin Cerrillo at center back be an option for Greg Vanney? Certainly. Saw that happen a lot last game. I think he goes with Zavaleta, though. I asked Zavaleta at open training, I was like, you going to get the start or what? And he's like, we'll see. He's just like, we'll see. So, non-indicative of anything, but I think Zavaleta gets the start, if not Edwin Cerrillo. What I would personally do is Cerrillo, but that's not, my job to make that call. That is.
I got one more. I just thought of, although I don't think it'll happen, but I just want to cover all the bases. You could see Amane slide into center back. Harvard Miller get a start. I don't think that'll happen, but you never know. So.
Yeah, I think Harper Miller's done really good at right back. I kind of trust if Harper Miller ends up starting and they move Yamane to center back would be another thing that Greg Vanney could do. That would be another good option, honestly. I know there's a lot of Zavaleta hate because he's the nephew and he had a couple poor performances, but maybe it's warranted. But I think he'll be okay. Let's get into score predictions here. First off, I have the Galaxy losing 2-0 at Austin. I don't think anything changes. It's an AM game. this team has to travel up to Austin. Very tough place for them to play historically. Texas, we don't win often in Texas. We don't have a good track record up there. Diego Fagundes revenge game, potentially. I don't see it happening. I think the Galaxy lose again. Still winless through 9 match days. And I think Austin are just going to get the lead very early on and dictate the game. Honestly, I don't think the Galaxy are built to really trail games. We're built to lead games, and I don't think we're going to be able to come off to that start here. So I have Galaxy losing 2-0. You guys?
So Austin's a very counterattack based team, and obviously we're possession, and that kind of counters our possession based play. So I think obviously early AM game, as you stated, never do well in Austin, especially just in that heat early in the morning. We've seen the team struggle previous years over there, so I think lose this game. But so every game I predicted so far, I predicted a dub or a draw. So if I reverse psychology this, whatever's going on, and we get a win. But
Score.
I think we'll lose 1-0.
Okay. Griffin?
Everything's telling me that we're going to lose this game also. Like we said, early game, we never play well in these early games where you have to travel. I think the body clock's a big thing about it too. It's 2 hours earlier for the Galaxy because their body thinks it's 10:45 as opposed to 12:45. We don't play well in Austin. They've been playing well. Their play style counters ours. With all that being said, I'm going to throw all that out the window, and I think we're going to escape with a point, and I think it's going to end 2-2. I think
All right.
I don't know who's going to come back, but one of those teams is going to have a pretty serious comeback.
Memes? Memes, you're muted.
Give me a 2-0 win.
Okay. That who scores?
You know what? I'm gonna go with the Fagundes double. I'm going bold.
You gonna how do you think the Galaxy are gonna get this done then?
What do you mean?
Like how what's their game plan that's gonna get them a 2-0 win in your opinion?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just Austin. I feel like ever since that Bureau tackle, they're probably gonna go hard. They're probably gonna think it's like a rivalry. It's gonna get some like a little bit of a confidence boost going into this game. It's gonna give them some flair going in. So maybe they'll use that and they'll play really good and they'll come up with a 2-0 win.
All right. Maybe Ricky was out training because he's gonna fly to Austin. Just jump Bureau in the parking lot potentially. I could see that being the case here. I think this should be a very interesting match. Good matchup here, but I think I think everything's aligned for the Galaxy not to win this game. And maybe that will shift in the other direction just because it's Major League Soccer and might as well, right? Got a 6-2 Galaxy win from Ant. Okay. All right. I mean, drop predictions in the chat here. We'll take questions before we head out here. We'll take one or two. I'll take one or two more here. Sean is not on this pod, unfortunately. We do miss him though. Same question.
Sean's watching Minecraft movie for the second time.
Are we serious?
Ain't getting a tuggy.
I wanted to show this so bad again. Grimace egg, hold that.
When does Nascimento start? I don't know. Vanny's kind of shown to have no trust in him right now. I mean, Ramirez has been pretty solid too. So, but yeah, I don't know. He'll get. I think we'll see him get once the fixtures start picking up and we get a midweek game here and there. I think you'll see him get a start. And it's up to him to take that opportunity.
All right, Galaxy wants LA.
Obviously, Ramirez is doing great. He's a known scorer in this league, and he's been proving it. So I don't see why we don't drop him. So, he continues to go and earn that spot. And in previous games, Barry's came on in front of Nascimento. So I think that just shows the pecking order that Nascimento's in. So he's gonna have to work his way up. And I mean, he's a U22, so I hope he gets playing time and he starts. But just not looking likely right now.
Yeah. Memes.
I think Ramirez has just hold it down pretty good so far. It sucks that he hasn't got any minutes so far. I mean, not what am I saying? Fuck. That he hasn't had a start yet, but hopefully he gets to start soon. He's just got to work himself up the depth chart and over a Barry. So yeah.
I don't think Nascimento is going to start any significant game for the Galaxy. In fact, I'm under the impression that Nascimento is not going to be extended his loan. I think it's just going to expire at the end of the year at this rate. I don't think he's done anything crucial for the Galaxy. I don't think he's going to do anything crazy for the Galaxy. I hope he does, but I just don't see it. Behind Barry in the depth chart. When he'll get his first start, though, probably just some random rotational game. I could see it, being when we have like one of those 3 games in a week. And speaking of 3 games in a week, by the way, who carries pro clubs? I do.
I would say I would if I wasn't a time change, because every time I got on, it's like 1 a.m. for me, and I'm an old man and I'm asleep by then. So
yeah, okay, sure, buddy.
Peyton, it's me. We can't be capping here. It's
all right, bro. All right, you know what? All I know is it's not Sean Jr. because
it's not Sean, not Tony.
He is not
G-Newbie.
We'll take 2 more questions here. Galaxy San Diego and LAFC, or Galaxy plays San Diego, LAFC, and San Jose in a week, in 1 month's time. How do we feel? Are we panicked yet, or are we just chilling on that? Do you think there's time for the Galaxy to find form before that, or?
Yeah, so we got a month, so we got 3-something games in between there. That's plenty of time to turn it around. Plenty of time for them to drop off. So
yeah.
I mean, in those games as well,
5 games until then.
Form isn't a matter. We saw previous years where LA Galaxy's been an absolute dog, and LAFC's been on the top, and we've seen LA Galaxy come up on top. So these rivalry games, form doesn't really come into play that much. It's not a key factor. So
yeah. Griffin?
Yeah, I think I'm not even looking at that yet. It's 5 games away. All 4 of those rosters could be different by then, with injuries, things like that, suspensions. But yeah, this was another thing we were talking about in the group chat today, where I think that, to me, like, as weird as it sounds to say, I feel like San Jose almost scares me a little more than LAFC right now. And that could come back to bite me, because you never know with those LAFC games. But I don't know. I know San Jose's back line is not good, but just the way they've been playing, I feel like they match up kind of well against the Galaxy. But we'll see. I mean, that's going to be a big week. One of those games you're going to have to rotate in a little bit, and we'll see which one Vanny chooses to rotate in. It's not going to be LAFC. But we'll see about the other 2.
Might be San Diego. Memes?
Yeah.
I'm not panicked at all, just because those are rivalry games, and usually when rivalry games happen, we can be in like really bad form, and then all of a sudden we can have a really great game, just because of like the momentum going in, just because of how much it means to the players. Those are usually turning point games where we win that game, or we end up with a good game, and it leads to a couple games where we have like a win streak of 2 or something. So I'm not panicked at all. I feel like we actually come up with a win in versus LAFC, and versus San Diego, we feel like we tie.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not worried. Form doesn't matter going into these games, really. It never has. The Galaxy have been terrible. The Galaxy have been good and lost games. The Galaxy have been terrible and won. So I don't think it matters. And in fact, us being bad might actually play a bit into our favor. So I don't. That's not too much of a concern. We'll see as it kind of transpires. And then the last question we have before we get out of here is, if Ricky never got hurt, where do you think we would be at right now? Personally, I think we would have won CONCACAF Champions Cup, and we would have been first in the West, if not second. I know Vancouver have been in good form, but what do you guys think?
It'd be number 1. I don't think this team's unstoppable when Ricky's on his game, Peck's on his game, Paints is on his game. And I think if Ricky was healthy, I think our team's even better than last year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Yeah, I agree. Griffin?
I think we'd still be in CCL, and probably on the way to win it, probably playing Miami in the final, which would be crazy. I don't think we're first in the West, but I think we're up there. We're in the conversation. This team's back line still worries me a bit. But obviously it's night and day with Ricky in this team. You can't replace guys like that. One other quick thing, Ant said that we might not win a game till June. I'll tell you guys right now, our first win of the season is coming Sunday, April 27th, at home against Portland. That's that'll be the first one of the season. So you could bookmark that. And then we got SKC the next week, and we're going to start going on a run, and we're going to finish third in the West, and then we're going to win the 7th Cup. So
Okay. Yeah, well, I won't go as far as that, but go ahead, me.
What was the question? Oh, yeah, I think we'd be destroying it right now. I think we'd be in second in the West. I feel like we'd still be in CONCACAF. We would have absolutely smashed Tigres at home with Ricky. Or without a doubt, you would be way better than we are right now. The whole team would be, at the top of the game. I would even want to say that, Peg would probably be in the Golden Boot right now. He would be the leading goal scorer in MLS if Ricky was still here.
Yeah. And Eli says that Ricky would have also been MLS Cup MVP. I agree. But it's also worth noting that Ricky would not be on this team if the ACL tear did not happen. He would be somewhere in Europe frolicking right now. So we'll take that for as it is. But the Galaxy obviously would be significantly better. It goes without saying. That's it. That's it for tonight. Hour 21 minutes. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Make sure if you haven't to like and subscribe to the podcast. And you don't play the clip.
Talking Galaxy.
Where can people find you, Galaxy Runs LA?
Galaxy Runs LA on TikTok, Instagram, and X.
Memes?
LA Galaxy memes on Instagram or at Griffin Weiss Instagram.
And Griffin.
You can find me at Talking Galaxy or at Galaxy News 101.
As for myself, I am at LA Galaxy Central on Instagram. And I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in.